Yeah, my name is Jolea Funk. I'm from the Pittsburgh region, but I live in New York right now in Poughkeepsie. I'm into meditation, activism, sustainable agriculture, permaculture, and just making the movement move. Yeah.
So you went to school at Vassar? You studied like sustainability or something like that?
Yeah, Vassar College. I was doing studies in sustainability.
They have a degree program there or something?
We have an environmental studies program that you can focus on sustainability within that.
Nice.
Yeah, so a lot of people do create their own paths within majors. Yeah, so I was also studying, I'm really interested in like meditation and activism, as I was saying. So I actually studied cognitive science and I focused on cognition and health. And then I was also taking environmental science and geography classes there as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about sustainability and agriculture and meditation and combining all of those actions together, unifying them, coalescing them, and you said something really interesting. Or let me just ask it, how do you feel about meditation? How do you feel about activism or the summation? Yeah,
so I think that nowadays there's kind of like this dichotomy between activism and meditation. It's like people are activism, but they want to make a political change, but they think that meditation is almost opposed to that because that's you like being by yourself, like working on your own vibration, your own self. But I don't see the two as opposing to each other at all. I actually think that they help each other, and they're also necessary. They're actually necessary to join for this movement to actually get going. Because what happens is activists, they get worn out easy. I had a teacher who was working with Occupy Wall Street, and she was noticing that after day 5, like the people were so motivated to make a change and so passionate about it that they were exhausted. And so the work that she started doing was teaching meditation and yoga to the activists, so that you can work on your own personal health while you are also working to make a change politically, and you're also making a change within yourself, working on yourself psychologically, you're working on yourself just to make sure that you have peace within your heart while you're doing that work, because people see you as an activist, and the way I think you're going to make a change is if someone sees like these honorable qualities within you. Like if you're exhausted and you're really like pushing, maybe even getting aggressive because you're so tired, it's not really going to make anything happen. But I was also saying how I think that working with the land and with agriculture and sustainability is one of the most powerful ways of activism, because first of all, working with the land is a meditation. Like it's a meditation for you physically, it's a meditation for you mentally as well. And beyond that, I think that securing land is a really powerful political act, because in this day and age, it's coming down to political power being even historically, it's a land grab. Like we have political power because we have space and we have a place that we've like taken control of. So I think that for us to make a big change working with the land is really important, because when we secure the land, we are automatically securing a political space, and working in that political space in a way that is nurturing oneself and is nurturing one's community is like a really powerful political act, because like that is what we need to develop in order to maintain our sovereignty, in order to teach ourselves, in order to like maintain our health. And when it comes down to land being such a valuable resource, if we're doing activism through the land, like that's the way we need to go. Yeah.
So let me ask you, what do you think about people who say, like, to what you're saying right now about moving in that sustainable direction, that hey, look, kind of the evolution of industrialized society is from an agricultural base, and then people move to the cities because they want all the pretty shiny things, and so it's kind of like seems innate in human nature to want the shiny things,
To want the
so
shiny
that
things?
you know, capitalism and fast cars and you know, consumerism.
Yeah.
People innately want that industrialized society, so they go to
Yeah.
the cities, abandon the countryside and farming practices and all the stuff that we seem intent on getting back to.
Yeah.
But that there was that initial push to get away from that because they wanted more materialism and consumerism. And so that's kind of innate in human nature. So as opposed to get back to the farm, evolve society more like, I don't know, develop skyscrapers in town that are greenhouses.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Yeah, so what's the question? What do I think about the...
Yeah, just kind of that response that it's a nice idea to get back to the garden, but it's not really very realistic on a large scale because humans, or at least humans in developed societies, kind of want to live in cities.
I think that as far as like us wanting to be consumers and us wanting that like more, I think that has to do with like security within ourselves. So in a more like in an earlier society, we were working with the land in this way, but we also didn't have a lot of knowledge. We also didn't know like the chemical composition of what worked with what. We also didn't have these techniques with agriculture and innovative ways to grow more with smaller pieces of land. So I think that I don't think that it's innate in human nature to want the material goods and be necessarily consumers. I think what we're looking for is just security and stability within ourselves and within our environments. And I think we've pretty much like we're no longer recognizing like how abundant the earth is, and because we are ignorant of that abundance, we're like looking for more without it, like outside of ourselves. So I think that now, I think it's important then for us to recognize like how our backyard can sustain us. How it honestly, last summer I ate my food from my garden, and it's just a small little plot of land in Poughkeepsie, New York, you know, like, and that taught me such a lesson of just being secure in like where I am, and like what
percentage of your diet did you get from here?
What percentage? Like 80% of my
80%.
diet. Yeah. I also eat vegetables. Like I love vegetables. Yeah.
How many hours a day did you have to work?
How many hours a day? It was also the summer, but probably hours of day for me, I worked probably like 6 hours a day, but I also had a lot of hands in the garden helping me too.
Okay, so it was like a community
it was a
kind of thing.
garden.
Okay.
It was a community garden. Yeah. But I think that I think that now that we do have the cities and we do have these fancy skyscrapers, like we also have the knowledge to be able to know how to turn that around into ways that are going to be able, like you said, like making greenhouses out of skyscrapers. Like if that infrastructure is already there, like that's
Sweden.
Like we can totally.
Sweden's all about it.
We can totally.
27-story.
Yeah, 27-story greenhouse. It's amazing. I think that's totally a way that we can start. We can continue to. Because now it's like we can go back to the land, but now we have so much more knowledge about how to do it, and we can do it in a way that's so much more. That does provide so much more, that's so much more abundant and is much more diverse and is a lot more like permaculture. It's like making the most out of the land itself, like making the most like out of the contours, making the most out of like the nutrients that are there.
So we don't necessarily have to move back to rural communities.
Yeah.
It's more like what's happening, and I'm seeing your interest in meditation and sustainability and agriculture and everything come together, because what's happening is through the agriculture we're getting sovereignty basically, and we're getting peace of mind because we're able to meet our basic needs, and from that comes this peace, and from that peace comes the revolution.
Yeah, exactly.
Dig it.
So, I don't think we're ever going to go, it's like, we're not going back. We're not going back to, like, us working in the land and, like, how it was before we had this industrial society. It's like, we're taking, like, everything we've gained from this industrial society and then moving forward with that to, like, a new, it's going to be completely different than it was for when our ancestors were doing it.
So let me ask you, it seems like this phenomenon that's come about since agriculture, and we were able to hoard food, and once we were able to hoard food, then we had people who tried to steal food, and then we would have the knights that would protect the food, and they would have wars over the food, and all this kind of stuff came about from agriculture, and it's only intensified since industrialization a couple hundred years ago. And so given that human nature, and given it seems like a lot of multinational corporations that are in alignment with that kind of fear and disinformation and control, manipulation of masses, where does that come into play from an activist perspective? Where does that come into play in just conscientious person in the 21st century?
Yeah, well, I think that a lot of the control and conflict that is going on there is all like control over land itself. Like that is like the main resource that they're fighting over, because land equals place for you to make money from, you know, and that's even like back in the day, like the knights fighting and someone having more money than the other person. It was more goods than the other person, more riches. And I think that, I think if we let go, if people start to feel like abundant within themselves, like I think that conflict and that like fighting over resources starts to fall away, because if you have everything, like what do you need to fight over?
Right, but as a result, don't you think there's some kind of overt or covert campaign to discourage people from being empowered in themselves?
Yeah, absolutely.
For the purpose of control and manipulation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, what comes into play there is just different resources for just like nurturing and like building the individual and their own like personal power, in order for them to recognize the subliminal messages that are going on, this campaign that is like controlling their lives and they think that they can't get out of. Because it's like once you start to like realize your own personal power, which everyone definitely has, and you start to realize that like it's like all a game that they're playing and you don't necessarily need to be a part of it. So I think that's why meditation and like personal, like just like understanding like what you want to do in this world, you know, what makes you happy, and like going for that, and like not limiting yourself. And I think that once you I think meditation for me personally helps a lot with that, and I think that I've seen other people who it definitely does as well. I think that that's when those boundaries start to fall away, because it's like people just start to realize that they are actually like free beings, that you can do what you want to do in this world, like you manifest your reality. So
Nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
So, hey, do you have any cool websites, or are you involved in any projects that you can tell people about, they can go to? Or
man, I've been just working on my music right now.
Music? Okay, do you have a website or something?
I have a SoundCloud.
What you got?
It's Jolea Funk, so it's soundcloud.com/Jolea Funk, so JOLEAFUNK.
Nice.
And more stuff will be going on there because I'm just starting out.
What are you playing?
I play guitar, my voice, and I've just started learning sitar as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff all around.
Good
stuff.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, thanks a lot for a second story.
You're welcome. Yeah, thanks.
See you in time and space.
Yeah.